Rich Nilsson. He's representing. Our next speaker is Rich Nilsson. He's representing a guy that you might have heard of, Ken Cuccinelli. Yeah. That's who he's representing today. He is a part owner of a business in Fairfax County. And don't hold that against him, okay? He's a graduate of Georgetown Law School. He's a military veteran. Rich is active in the Tea Party movement and known to many of our chapter leaders. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Rich Nilsson.
Good evening, Richmond Tea Party Patriots. What a wonderful evening for a Tea Party. It's a great pleasure to be with you here this evening. The Tea Party is having great impact throughout our state and country. It's a pure grassroots movement, as opposed to what some may like to say. A spontaneous movement, a prairie fire of concern for our country. Your focus on fiscal responsibility, free enterprise, limited transparent government, and constitutional principles is sorely needed. Thank you for your involvement. Keep at it. You're bringing important change to the political process. Ken Cuccinelli was here earlier. It's my job to bring greetings from him. I hope you're glad that he's serving us as Attorney General. We're very fortunate to have Ken in Richmond, protecting our freedom and liberty, defending the Constitution, contesting the limits of federal power, and challenging federal government overreach. And I'm going to share with you just two brief examples of this. First is his petition against the Obama administration's effort to regulate greenhouse gas emissions. When the cap and trade bill bogged down in the U.S. Senate, better known as cap and tax, Obama decided to try a backdoor means of implementing the cap portion of the bill. So he went to EPA and asked EPA to issue an endangerment finding, citing greenhouse gases as an environmental threat and proposing new regulations to combat this. EPA based this on evidence from the Climate Research Unit of the University of East Anglia. You all know that story. Well, Ken Cuccinelli stood up to this big government overreach by filing a petition for reconsideration of the EPA action. And that petition challenges EPA's reliance on this questionable evidence. As some of you were just reacting, you know, recently we went through what's called ClimateGate. Emails were discovered which punch holes in the Climate Research Unit's global warming data. And that's what EPA has been relying on. The petition also challenged EPA's failure to consider the economic impact of these regulations on the Commonwealth of Virginia. It is the Attorney General's view that EPA has a political agenda and is using unreliable, questionable data to try to regulate American industry. And we can't let this happen. It must be stopped. Let me just make a few comments about the health care bill. In recent times, we've seen the government essentially take over the mortgage market, the auto industry. Someone earlier mentioned government motors. We know that phrase. And now health care. This is central planning at its worst, an unprecedented expansion of federal power, and government knows best. But we say the people knows best. And the ink was barely dry on President Obama signing the federal health care bill into law when our man in Richmond, Ken Cuccinelli, filed suit in federal court. And that suit is based on the Health Care Freedom Act, which was mentioned here earlier, and we should thank Delegate Bob Marshall for his leadership in getting that legislation shepherded and passed. Now, just a couple of quick things about the suit. It alleges that the Virginia Health Care Freedom Act is constitutional, and Congress exceeded its constitutional authority by imposing an individual mandate. And it also alleges that the federal government reliance on the Commerce Clause to validate that mandate is unconstitutional. Never before in United States history has Congress used the Commerce Clause to try to force private citizens to purchase a good or service from another citizen or entity. This is antithetical to freedom. Do you agree? Yeah. The enumerated powers of Article 1, Section 8 do not allow Congress to dictate a purchase. This is antithetical to freedom. Do you agree? There are some who say health insurance is the right of every American. We say every American has a right not to purchase it. Too often Washington forgets where its authority comes from, that states as sovereign entities granted express and limited powers to the federal government through the Constitution. And it's time now to return our system of government to its proper balance. I think you agree. When you have an opportunity, I close with this, we need your support. Go to www.cuccinelli.com and sign his petition to stop the federal mandate and support Liberty Now. We need as many of your signatures as possible. Thank you for your time, and God bless you all.
I got to dispel a little